Hello, welcome to that Double D team. I'm D, and this is my top 10 video for my favourite comic book films. Now, before I jump in, obviously we've been doing a lot of top 10s this month, in the new year, Christmas period. DIGA, Joelle also doing their own videos, so please check them out in the upcoming videos below. Like, comment, share, subscribe at Double D team and JD Virtue on YouTube. So, I've got a couple of honourable mentions before I go into my top 10, and I kind of did work my top 10 as in my favourite numerical position, so it did take a while. It was quite fun to do so as well, making me go back and rewatch a few films and move them up a notch or two down. So, honourable mentions: Thor 3, Black Panther, Superman 1978, Logan, Blade, Men in Black, Dread, The Mask. Quite a variety. Yep, I wanted to get them as in honourable mentions because some of them you wouldn't have thought were comic book films or maybe not in that class, and some really good performances in each one of them. And any of them 8 I've just mentioned could have snuck in my top 10. However, I didn't just want to put them in there on merit. I wanted them in there on merit, and my top 10 was concise. So we'll go in with 10. And that is The Incredibles, written, directed by Brad Bird, voiced by Craig T. Nelson, Holly Hunter, Sarah Vowell, Spencer Fox, Jason Lee, and Samuel L. Jackson. This is one of my favourite animated films ever, let alone comic book superhero villains. And for me, this is the perfect Fantastic Four film. It's a family of superheroes coming together, fighting the odds, coming up, beating a villain. It's literally Fantastic Four in animated form. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant and fun. It did, however, take around, was it 15 years for the sequel? Incredibles 2 came out recently, which was fun. I enjoyed it. Didn't, however, think it was better than the original. However, the 15-year time gap may have affected that viewpoint, so I may need a second or third viewing, but Incredibles 1, my number 10. Number 9, I've gone for Kingsman, The Secret Service. Kingsman 1. This was produced by Matthew Vaughn and Jane Goldman, who's the wife of Jonathan Ross. It's based on the comic by Mark Millar. And this starred Colin Firth, Taron Egerton, Mark Strong, Samuel L. Jackson, Sophia Boutella, Michael Caine, Sophie Cutman, Samantha Womack, aka Ronnie from EastEnders. This was like the breakout role for Taron Egerton. He then went on to do Eddie the Eagle. Amazing performance in that film as well, alongside Hugh Jackman. Mark Strong just popped up again in so many films. Like, the guy is just class. Usually he's a villain, but that British smooth suaveness. But as a number 2 in this, he was very, very good and competent. I really did like him. Samuel L. Jackson. He's in everything, and he's actually number 10 and 9 in my list so far. And his list, I didn't mind it. Some people thought it was a bit goofy, but each to his own, man. Let him have his own creative license. He's earned that based on his repertoire of films. Sophia Boutella was like the breakout role for her. She then went on to get the leading role in The Mummy, and she starred in Atomic Blonde as well. Very good from being a ballet dancer, moving up. Yeah, her choreography and fight scenes are top. It was also the first time we'd seen Colin Firth, aka Rom-Coms and Queen's Speech, take the lead role in an action film, basically being a Bond. Because this was kind of a Bond spoof as well, the way he played off about all the nonchalant little villains and nuances in Bond films. And I found it really fun. The scene in the church with Colin Firth, pow, 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 as Digger would say, MDK. Yeah, action packed. Number 2 was good, fun, but not as substantial as number 1 was. They are doing a 3, although that might be a prequel, so I don't know how that'll play out because Taron Egerton's not in it. But Kingsman 1, Secret Service, my number 9. 8, I've gone for Man of Steel, directed by Zack Snyder, produced by Christopher Nolan, starring Henry Cavill, Amy Adams, Michael Shannon, Kevin Costner, Diane Lane, Lawrence Fishburne, Russell Crowe. Star-studded, and to me, my opinion, still the best DC film to date. Now, the Dark Knight trilogy is technically not in the DCU, so allow that. But based on this new franchise of people, ever since it was like the Snyderverse, that's what fans dubbed it. For me, Man of Steel, number 1, and then Wonder Woman, number 2. I've not seen Aquaman yet, although soon. Although I don't think that'll break the top 2. And it's also one of the reasons why I didn't like Batman v Superman, because technically that should have been Man of Steel 2. We've waited so long for that. Even rumours about Cavill not actually coming back for the role. However, he loves Superman. He's made for that role, so I hope something gets worked out and we get a Man of Steel soon in the future, not too long down the line. But yeah, they thought, you know what, we're going to rush this, we're going to put it together. We said a Man of Steel 2, we'll make a Batman v Superman, and we'll definitively make Batman the winner. A human over a fucking god. I think I've gone into this a few times in my reviews of like the Batman v Superman and my top 5 comic book villains, etc. So I don't want to go too deep because I'll get heated. But yeah, didn't like Batman v Superman because of that, because I'm a Supes fan. I'm a Batman fan as well, but technically you don't put it over the god. And yeah, Man of Steel, the performance, the origin, initiation of Clark Kent becoming Superman, not losing his powers, not using his powers, having his old man Kevin Costner telling him not to do stuff when his bully fights him back, he's not allowed to play football because he's used his skills, all of this, then losing his dad sacrificing himself, because obviously he didn't want his kid to show off his powers, so he went back to get the dog. The feels, man, the emotion. And then Michael Shannon shows up as Zod, as a menacing villain, and their fight scene, flying through Metropolis. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. I think it's actually on JD's list as well. Yeah, because I know he likes this film, and that we were discussing this scene the other day. It's epic. Wow. Which is why it was so gutting that we didn't get a Man of Steel 2 like straight after. That was my number 8. Move on to number 7. Kick-Ass 1. This was written, directed by Matthew Vaughn, based on the comic by Mark Millar again. So that's another Matthew Vaughn adaptation of a Mark Millar comic, Kingsman, Kick-Ass. And Kick-Ass was awesome. Stars Aaron Taylor Johnson, Chloe Grace Moretz, Nicolas Cage, Mark Strong popped up again, Christopher Mintz-Plasse from Superbad, Matt Lovin, and I thought this was awesome. I'd never seen the comic book or what the adaptation it was based on, so for me it was just a fresh take, and I've seen it, and for a lot of comic book fans and geeks and nerds ourselves were like, yeah, why have no one ever tried to be a superhero themselves? I mean, oh, you need superpowers, dude. Yeah. Well, Batman, he's just, yeah, but you ain't got no money. But even so, we can just do. So yeah, it just got the cogs moving in the brain, like, oh yeah, I wonder if that could actually happen. Then you see him do it and try it and get beat up. You're like, whoa, actually, yeah, that's why no one's done it. But then because of the beating he took, he has to get all the surgery done, gets metal plates and put in, it makes him kind of invulnerable to pain. He's then able to become a proper villain. Then he does. He stands up for what's right. Teams up with Nick Cage, Chloe Grace Moretz, the Batman outfit, and Hit Girl. Hit Girl in this was a star. She stole the film, which is why a lot of it was based on her in number 2. And there was even talks of a spin-off happening for her, and so she said cunt in number 2. Fair, isn't it? People, soft snowflakes nowadays. Yeah, cunt. You don't know about American viewers, but UK viewers, yeah. If you say vitriolic, then yeah, it can be offensive, but otherwise, yeah, it can even be, oh, you soppy cunt. Yeah, each to their own, I assume. But she was the star of the film. Obviously, Aaron Taylor Johnson was the heart. He's obviously becoming Kick-Ass, getting a relationship with a girl, which is fun. Him and his 3 little geeky friends keeping up together, breaking out. I know it plays out more along that storyline in number 2, but for number 1, and obviously he's saying, yeah, I suppose you think it's a happy ending because I'm doing a voiceover. Yeah, Have you never seen? Shut up, Dick. Have you never seen American Beauty? That just a few little lines like that are realism to try and make the fan like a bit wary about it. It's a comic book film. Hero's gonna win. It's gonna be fine. See Nicolas Cage getting burnt on screen to death, like in front of Hit Girl after she goes all night vision on it. Kick Ass is amazing because, as I mentioned, I previously went and watched a few of these again just to refresh my memory to place them correctly, and I forgot how good it was. Yeah, brilliant. 6, one of my favourite all-time films. Now this don't break the top 5 just because of the catalogue of quality of Marvel, and because theirs is pretty much a soap opera where you have to watch each film as an episode. They're going to dominate the top 5. But number 6, personally one of my favourites, had to put it in there. Stop waffling on D. Tell him the name. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. This is directed by Edgar Wright, and once I mention that, you'll see why the camera angles and shots and that was so effective in this, and why you'll like Baby Driver as well. Like Edgar, awesome man. Would have wish you could have done Ant-Man, but I was happy with what Peyton Reed did and what eventually happened. He still used some of your stuff, so it was all good. But Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, starring Michael Cera, Jason Schwartzman, Brie Larson, Brandon Routh, Chris Evans, Anna Kendrick, Aubrey Plaza, and Kieran Culkin, aka Fuller. Too many Pepsi's gonna piss the bed. Home Alone 1. This is also the first mention of 4 of films in my top 6 starring Chris Evans. The cameos in this were amazing. When I first seen the film, I didn't clock a lot of them because I probably wasn't aware of who they were from the material they'd done, such as Aubrey Plaza, because I hadn't started Community yet, but I have now. Amazing, great film, TV comedy show. Watch out for our top 10 TV comedy shows list soon. I've got a feeling it'll be on at least one of our 3 lists. Anna Kendrick, obviously until I've seen any of the Pitch Perfects, didn't have any idea who she was. Brandon Routh, didn't even know he'd been cast as Superman at that time. Brie Larson, no idea until obviously she did Free Fire and then got cast as Captain Marvel. And I'm like, okay. Obviously Michael Cera, we know from Cera, Sandberg and Jesse Eisenberg from our Squirtle, War Toys, Blastoise theology that we've mentioned quite a few times. And the film's awesome. Like the fight scenes, the boss battles, the way it's laid out in like video game form, and you beat a boss and he disperses into coins, you collect the coins, and eventually you get enough points at the end, you get that extra life. Scott has earned the Sword of Self-Respect. Awesomely good, man. And the fight scenes were pretty good. The choreography, like obviously different stunt person who did the Sarah things, but it was still good, watchable. But they included it as like a music battle, a battle of the bands. We are Sex Bomb. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, other Neil, young Neil, like really good, man. He knocked the highlights out of her hair. He knocked the highlights out of her. Oh, so many quotables from it, but I'll try not to go into too many because obviously if you've seen the film, you know, and if not, then I want you to go watch it so you'll find out for yourself. But Brie Larson's song when she comes on stage, I recently saw the film, listened to the song, and I'm like, oh, this is a banger actually. Yeah, I think my ringtone for the next month or 2, without a doubt. Hello again, friend of a friend, I knew you when. Moving on, shall we, to the top 5. Starting it off with Guardians of the Galaxy 1. This was written and directed by James Gunn, starring Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Bradley Cooper, Vin Diesel, Michael Rooker. Vin Diesel gave an awesome performance as Groot in this, and the way he managed to convey emotion in only 3 words, in the tone and manner and cadence in which he would say just, I am Groot, I am Groot, I am Groot. What a performance. And Bradley Cooper as well as Rocket made me feel like it was a real character on screen, and looking at some of the behind the scenes footage of what he was doing and how animated he was to get the lines out, he put the effort in. He didn't just turn up, sit down, get a mic and say the lines. He put some sweat into that, so I appreciated that, and it showed on film. Dave Bautista's first role coming from WWE as Blue Tista, where he kind of ruined what would have been Daniel Bryan's event, but eventually got to be. Anyway, wrestling fans know. Him landing this role and nailing it as Batista, well, not as Batista, as Drax, where he takes everything literally. Why would I put my thumb across his throat when I have a knife? No, it's a metaphor. So you know what I mean, don't you? Yeah. No. Yeah. Don't bother explaining it to him. It's gonna go over his head. Nothing will go over my head. I'm fast. My reflexes will catch. Perfectly to a T, man. I think they went overboard on that because it was such a success in 1. They went, oh, we're gonna dial out to 11 in number 2, and they tried to give Drax too many fun comedic scenes. In my point, a lot of them hit, so I can't complain. I just felt it was just overkill a bit, and that's the only criticism with Guardians 2. It was just too much when it suffered from sequelitis. Bigger, better, yeah, they just tried to go too much on the second instead of sticking to what made the original so fun, which was fives, a random bunch of ragtag people coming together to form a team to fight an evil doer so they can save the world or the galaxy. Awesome. And as with Scott Pilgrim, the soundtrack to Guardians was epic. You know how long I was rocking that Volume 1 80s soundtrack after that film came out? Months. Yeah, months. Still know quite a lot of them as well, man. So whenever the film comes on, man's bopping a little move. Recently in Lego Marvel as well, Marvel Superheroes, you get to play Star-Lord. He buzzes out his Walkman, starts playing Mr. Blue Sky, starts shoot. Guardians was so fun, which is why it makes my top 5. I still think it's one of the best origin films in the Marvel MCU. It's one of the best top 10, I'd say, but with so many quality Marvel films coming out now, it might slowly get pushed down. But for what it did with a group of characters that we'd never heard of to make them such now household names and become such a fun, enjoyable action film, I thought it was great. Really was. And Chris Pratt, everyone's like, who? The fat guy from Parks and Rec? Another TV comedy show. Maybe we'll keep an eye out for in our top 10 list. Who was the boyfriend of Aubrey Plaza in the show. Coinky Dinks. He landed this role, got in shape, nailed it, then got linked with such films as, well, roles as Nathan Drake, Uncharted, Indiana Jones. He landed Passengers with Jennifer Lawrence, which was, it was okay. And he's also doing Cowboy Ninja Viking as well. He's blown up since then, and his actual character Star-Lord is great, so amazing. For me, because of the age as well and the comedic effect of him, he'd be the one that can replace Iron Man for you. He flies, he shoots, he can go in space, he's got the quips. Even a little scene together in Infinity War, very fun. Obviously Cap or Iron Man are going in number 4, maybe both, we don't know. Need someone to take that mantle again. Spider-Man's your man, even though he's owned by Sony, so I'd be putting all my eggs in a Chris Pratt basket. However, with them getting rid of James Gunn needlessly, overreactionally, Guardians 3 has been paused, so you maybe won't be getting Star-Lord, Chris Pratt in a film for a while. Although, depending on the outcome of Avengers 4, I hope he could then become Earth-based as well. Avengers East Coast, Secret Avengers, we don't know. But yeah, Guardians, my number 5. Number 4, Captain America 3, Civil War. Written by Marcus and McFeely, directed by Joe and Anthony Russo. Starring Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, Tom Holland, Chadwick Boseman, and Paul Bettany. Airport scene. That should pretty much give you a reason why it makes the top 4. epic. It was 8 to 11 minutes of the action pack, 5v5. Introduction of Spider-Man in this film, the introduction of Black Panther in this film, Ant-Man joining the Avengers in this film, like his introduction, but being there, his interaction with Cap, amazing. Spider-Man's little quips when he's fighting, like, you know, you're not supposed to talk this much, right? The bromance between Winter Soldier and Falcon, both like wanting to be Cap's number one, not liking each other, but becoming mates. Brilliant. Them sitting in the back of the car, can you move your seat? No. Cap lipsing up with Agent 13, getting his little nod of approval from the boys in the car. Oh, highlights, man. Highlights. Really, really good, man. I really enjoyed Civil War. Plus, for me, adaptation from the comic, I was a bit disappointed when Iron Man got forced into Cap's third film, because obviously this was around the time the pay dispute was going on, and Marvel might have been wanting to swiftly get Robert Downey Jr. out of the way by not giving him an Iron Man 4 and using up his number of 9 films in his contract by putting him in here to use that up to get rid of him earlier so they can give him more of a power balance. I didn't like the backstage politics that went on. However, it resulted in a great film, and the outcome, Cap definitively won that battle. Now, people are saying, oh, Iron Man beat him when he started using his Friday to like copy fighting pattern, and it started to beat him up, and it wasn't until Winter Soldier. It was a 2-on-1 fight. Maybe. But it technically wasn't a fight. Iron Man was trying to kill both. Cap and Winter Soldier were just trying to stop him. Yeah, so technically it was one person fighting, the other one person defending, trying to stop him. So technically not a full-on fight. Also, once Iron Man then took out Bucky, it was 1-on-1. And Cap was doming him until Iron Man used... Now technically, it's one of his abilities, his suit, but he used like an algorithm to make the suit do the movements for him rather than him doing it. So that's cheating. And even when he did that, Cap overcame him and could have killed him at the end, putting the shield into his face, which Tony accepted and was about to put his hands up, but instead he just took the suit out, so Iron Man was neutralised, couldn't actually come at him to fight him then, because Tony as a human can't do shit except brag. And then yeah, Cap just walks away, and even after the snide little line about, oh, that's not your shield, it don't belong to you, blah, 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 he just drops it and gives it. He's like, fine man, I got my boy, me and Bucky are out of here, mate. Then goes and busts his boys out the raft at the end. Oh, Cap is the man. As you can see why Chris Evans makes 4 appearances in my top 6. And Civil War was epic, man. And the way what it built up as well, with the split in the group going forward into Infinity War. So good. So good. Top 3. Avengers 3, Infinity War. Very recent film, but I think the performance of Thanos' storyline and the outcome, and the fact it led on to a number 4 to be coming out this year, the impact of the film with not necessarily a happy ending was quality and had to be mentioned and put in my top 5. And when I listed it, fun and enjoyment, so many highlights in this film, it had to make top 3. Again, written by Marcus and McFeely, directed by Joe and Anthony Russo. Common theme, right? Starring Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, Chris Pratt, Scarlett Johansson, Mark Ruffalo, Benedict Cumberbatch, Chadwick Boseman, Tom Holland, Josh Brolin. And Josh Brolin, special mention. You was Thanos, motion capture, first time you'd done it. Obviously you were doing a bit for Cable at the same time, filming for Deadpool 2. But the emotion, like a lot of people think, yo, Thanos was right. And the passion that he conveyed, and the emotion, especially his scenes with Gamora. And then at the end, his little chat with Scarlet Witch, and then going to the Soul Stone, and what he had to do and give up, and the only one having the gumption to do it. His fight scenes. Now, these 3, I think, main fight scenes, or 4. New York at the beginning, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Hulk don't come out to play, and you have the Cape doing a lot of work, Spider-Man turns up. It's very fun. You have then Proxima Midnight, I think it is, and Corvus Glaive. Ooh, might be wrong, but yeah, going after Scarlet Witch and Vision, their little fight scene until Secret Avengers. Cap turns up, or Nomad, with Falcon and Black Widow, and when Caps is in that shadow and it just catches the... What an entrance into the film. Plus you had the Cap beard. You're like, yes, Cap. And his little moment on the battlefield with Thor. You cut your hair? You copied my beard? Oh, by the way, this is my friend, Tree. I am Groot. I am Steve Rogers. Oh, highlights. Scarlet Witch enters the battlefield. Maneuvers some massive big tanks out the way. Okoye's like, why wasn't she on the field before? I could go on all day listing little nuanced moments and highlights in this, because as a Marvel fan, as we mentioned, so proper, I've been there from number 1 all the way up to way to, what was this, 19th film. Yeah, it has more impact because of the back catalogue that you felt from each and every one of these films, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Even the moment where Cap's overpowers Thanos at one moment, and Thanos is like, what? Then just knocks him out with his other hand, because technically he was only powering at one hand. And yeah, really good. Doctor Strange, Spider-Man. The moment where should have aimed for the head, then he all start disintegrating, and War Machine doesn't fucking look at the ground to see Falcon as he disappears and give him his moment of impact. He said, guys looking around like, yeah, Sam, where are you? But man, like, you won't be able to see him on the floor like 10 yards away from you. He might be covered by a bit of sugar ray, but at least see his legs or his wings from his back. Anyway, that was very annoying, but yeah, just because I felt there was no need for them, for War Machine not to have seen the disappearance. Like, having him see it and having the impact on screen would have been better. I would have liked Cap to have done it because he's Cap's boy, but Cap had that moment with Bucky. So by not giving, yeah. Anywho, I'm nitpicking. That's an amazing film. Avengers 3, my number 3. Number 2 is Cap 2, Winter Soldier. Now, I'm actually going to pause and say this is my number 2, but it's also my number 1. I couldn't split my 1 and 2. I know, come at me. It depends on what I've seen recently, I think, whether this makes 2 or 1. And also, being a Cap fan, I didn't want my bias just to put it straight at number 1. Because not only is it one of my favourite films, but it's one of the best quality-wise in the MCU and comic book history. It's awesome. Written by Marcus and McFeely, again. Directed by Joe and Anthony Russo, again. Starring Chris Evans, again. Scarlett Johansson, Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, Robert Redford, Samuel L. Jackson and Colby Smulders, aka Shabotsky from How I Met Your Mother. This is epic. Now, this is what made Cap a badass. Once the Russos started getting control of this character. Obviously, number 1's a great origin film, and I like it more and more every time I watch it. And I can't finish that film, Cap 1, without at least getting teary-eyed or glassy-eyed with a little teardrop now and again, especially when he puts himself in the water, misses out on his dance with Peggy. It's like, yeah man, save me a dance, yeah. I'll try not to step on you. And then the sound, every time it gets me. But yeah, so Cap 2, Russos take control of Chris Evans, make him a badass. This is also the best performance to date of Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, in my opinion. The introduction of Winter Soldier, and that moment where they're having a badass fight scene with Chris Evans, and then the mask gets knocked off and they have to look at each other. Bucky? Who's Bucky? Then you have that moment there where it's kind of like Manchurian Candidate, where you've got to try, he's always been brainwashed, and you've got to try and bring him back to the good side, to him to remember you, and there's a whole good v bad going out. Awesome. Robert Redford as a villain. A Hydra villain at that. I didn't like when he died, his final words were, "Heyo, Hydra." But for a comic book villain, perfect. Like, if you've seen that in the comic book, you'd have a geekasm, so appreciated. Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury got his most screen time and action scenes in this film than any of the other Avengers 2, or when he popped up for the cameo in Infinity War. And I appreciated it, and his car scene where he's being chased down by the Winter Soldier, well, trying to escape, then he gets trapped by the Winter Soldier, car gets knocked upside down, and he escapes with his laser pen through the floor, fakes his death, comes back at the end. Yeah, you're gonna keep both eyes on me. So good. Obviously gives Kobe Smulders a meatier role than usual, just having him in the background saying, yeah, hello, come in, okay, confirmed. Yeah, she was actually a competent number 2 for Nick Fury in this. And introduction of Mackie on your left as Falcon. Really good, man. Starting that bromance with Cap, because obviously they both served, both gone through trauma, and now they just want to do right. And Mackie jumps on board straight away to Cap, man. Like, yo, they don't look at me. I do what he does, just slower. Yeah, I'm not a soldier. I'm not a spy. I'm a soldier. You going after him, huh? Yeah. You don't have to come. I know. When do we start? Oh, I actually watched it last night as well. Well, we caught the last hour and a half, I think, me and JD. So it's fresh in the mind, which is why I didn't want to put it as technically number 1, but joint number 1 on my list. And Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier, epic, deservedly my place as number 2/1 in this list. Now, number 1, or joint number 1 with Cap 2, as most people may have guessed by now, with his exclusion in the top 10, and that's Batman 2, The Dark Knight, written, produced and directed by Christopher Nolan, starring Christian Bale, Heath Ledger, Gary Oldman, Aaron Eckhart, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman. Those last 2 names alone, Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman, the weight carried by those 2 legendary actors as supporting cast in this film says it all. Then award nominee glitterati in Gary Oldman, Aaron Eckhart, I don't want to say quality, but a very good supporting actor. I've not seen him lead too many roles. As a supporting actor, he always nails it down. Maggie Gyllenhaal, a lot of people can be hit or miss. I've not seen her in Deuce TV show recently, but she did okay in this. I didn't really have too much of a problem with Katie Holmes in number 1. Acting wise, probably not the greatest, but in terms of sensing the emotion and her relationship towards Bruce, I felt it very powerfully on screen, so I felt her job was good. A reasonably good enough job anyway. However, I thought the best performance alongside Bruce in that trilogy was Hathaway, and they deservedly to get together at the end. Booyah! Spoilers. But yeah, the stars of this film, Bale and Ledger. Now I need to mention Bale because obviously the Heath Ledger steals this film, but people forget this is probably Bale's an amazing Batman in 1, 2 and 3, but his performance in this, as Batman in this one, I really enjoyed, very much so. And Bruce Wayne, I thought he nailed both of these characters to a T in this film. In number 1, he was probably finding his feet as both because it's an origin film, so he had to portray it that way, so it didn't come across as strongly. But in this one, very much so. Big fan of Bale anyway, ever since obviously we saw this and The Fighter. I keep going back to DIGA all the time saying, yo, that's one of the best performances I've seen Bale do. Along with recently as well, I rewatched Prestige. Amazing in that as well. So quality actor. His performance as Bruce Wayne and Batman in this was epic. However, he was in the shadow of Heath as the Joker throughout the whole film, and afterwards, because of the unfortunate death and passing of Heath, most people laud his performance even higher, even Oscar. So people tend to forget about Bale, but I want to give him his just. But Heath Ledger's performance deservedly deserves all the praise and compliments that come with it. It was epic. I think we've mentioned this a few times, or it feels like I've mentioned this many a time because we talk about this film a lot, or this aspect of the film, the intro, the bank scene, and how as a villain he actually takes part instead of just has his minions do it and themselves, and he has them do it and then bring him back the goods, waiting in a safe spot. No, he was in the trenches doing it, and because of the plan where each one of the guys has to pop off another one, at any point they could have realised, oh actually I'll just pop off this guy, and it almost comes true to him. It's like, wait, I bet the Joker told you to kill me after this one as well, didn't he? He's like, no, I'm to kill the bus guy. What bus guy? sidesteps away. Take. Genius. At the end when he's trying to talk to Two-Face as well about, do I seem like a man with a plan? And the Batman, and the police, Gordon, they seem like men with plans. Me, I just react. Oh, so good. His nuances with the face and the... Wanna know how I got these scars? Oh, so good. The fight scenes, and then it's the best performance of Joker, because you get the fact that it's yin and yang. The Joker needs Batman. It's like, I don't want you to die. I don't want you to go away. I don't want to play this game forever. And it was so good. I mean, unfortunate for his death, because I reckon they could have teased him in number 3, and it would have been interesting to see where they'd have gone with that, because I know Nolan was succinct at doing a trilogy only, so it wouldn't have carried on as a universe. But to have had the Joker come back in 3, you might not have needed Bane. You would have had Bane v Joker. Just the nuances that could have played out, you know, the variables would have been amazing. Not to say that The Dark Knight is not probably like epic, the best comic book superhero film ever, especially because of Heath Ledger's passing and his performance as such an iconic character in the Joker. But don't take nothing away from Winter Soldier as well, man. For them to make that a spy thriller superhero film, introduction of Winter Soldier and Falcon in that film, getting the best out of Cap and Black Widow, yeah, they're both on a level for me, man. So that's why they're both joint number 1. But as I've mentioned, Dark Knight's the most recent one I'm reviewing at the moment. The origin, as with Cap 1, if you go back and watch it, you'll actually enjoy it more than you remember or think. Because every time I watch it, I like it more and more. And when I did the Dark Knight trilogy recently, I actually, because a lot of people have a stigma that Dark Knight Rises is the worst of the 3. And it may be, but that's not to say that it's bad. Because I went back and watched it thinking, oh, this might not be that great because of what I remember, what I've heard, etc., what's in the zeitgeist, what's out there. And I really enjoyed it. I thought, for me, there was no plot holes. Maybe the pacing felt a bit long. The fact that Batman was on his way out, so he wasn't the proper Batman. But story-wise, good. Action-wise, maybe not, although it gave you one of the best scenes in the trilogy with the football field and Bane. So, yeah. Each of the films deserves credit and its merit, and I keep going back and forth with whenever I mention this film or Winter Soldier, I've phrased the question, what trilogy is better? The Dark Knight trilogy or the Captain America trilogy? Feel free to discuss that amongst yourselves and your friends, or ideally in the comment section below. But that was my top 10 comic book films list. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out all our other videos on that Double D Team YouTube channel. Check out JD Virtue's YouTube channel as well, because he's been taking part in a lot of our top 10s as well. He's one of the lads. He's just passed, I think, 7,700 subscribers. Let's get him on his way to 8 in the brand new year 2019. Let's rack them numbers up for us all. Let's all keep them. It's all good. Until the next video. Deuce.